Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last episode we spent a lot of time playing with nuclear craft isotopes so that we could start making californium. That's going to be one of the main ingredients we need for our quantum research to unlock the next stage of this pack. Now, we made some pretty good progress. We got a lot of it automated, but we still have a long way to go before we're going to have a whole bunch of quantum research so that we can start making our way towards that end portal. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. So this is what we're talking about here. We completed a lot of these areas where we can make our thorium, our americium, our curium, all of that sort of stuff, all of our pre-processed fuels so that we are generating a little bit of power, but mainly we are after that californium. Now you can see here, californium is one of the three ingredients we are going to need to make our quantum research. So we've got enough of that coming in that we can do a little bit. But we need to make these other two ingredients, the thermoconducting alloy and the depleted uranium plating. So that's where we're going to be spending our time today. Now, these are complicated ingredients because we don't have most of the separate ingredients we need to go into this. We're not automating any of these things, the tough alloy, the extreme alloy. None of this is automated, and I probably am not going to automate it end to end. I'm probably going to just make enough of it that I can do some research creation manually. So today we're going to start setting all of those pieces up. So to get started here, we need this boron arsenide, which is actually made from boron and arsenic. Now the arsenic is a little bit harder to get our hands on here because we need to get that from melting down crushed arsenic, which we can only get out of a rock crusher, and only from andesite. So that's going to be somewhat problematic. We also get this beryllium dust, which we can use in our reactors. We hadn't been making that before. And the alugentum, which I don't know what that's for, but really this crushed arsenic is what we're after. So we need to produce andesite. Now, we make andesite automatically with diorite and cobblestone. And diorite we can make with nether quartz and cobblestone. We have a decent amount of nether quartz sitting around not doing anything, and we also are producing more in our loop fabricator. So that's going to be the primary thing that we are going to be focusing on to get to this. Now, we also need to make these other intermediate pieces, but we have most of the ingredients for that. The lithium, the ferroboron, all of that stuff we can make relatively easily. So the first thing we're actually going to need here for our chain of production is going to be pulverized coal so that we can make those graphite ingots. Now, you all may have remembered me making those electrodes earlier, a couple of episodes back when I was building my arc furnaces. It's basically the same idea here. So from our storage network, we need to be exporting our coal into this system and then pulverize it down into pulverized coal. So we're just going to drop a card in here real quick that allows us to then export coal. We just need to configure this and tell it to start bringing it in from the bottom. And there we go. We're going to get our pulverized coal out of that. Easy enough. Now, we can take our pulverized coal and put it into a manufactory to get our graphite dust. I think that's the only way we can do this. Yeah, manufacturing. So we're going to have to set up a manufactory right adjacent to this. Those are easy enough to make. I think I have most of the ingredients on hand here. Looks like we're just missing the machine frame. There we go, or excuse me, machine chassis. And now we can just add this into our processing row here, right next to our pulverizer. So let's put that right there. And we're just going to push the output into there, and automatically you can see it's already going to start making graphite. And I think we can upgrade this a little without too much trouble. We don't want to use all of our power. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is take our graphite dust and smelt it. So we're going to set up a redstone furnace right next to the rest of these machines. So again, that's an easy thing to make from thermal foundation. And there we go. That should be all of the ingredients we need for that. So let's go set this up next to our other machines real quick. Okay, so we put this down here, and we should be able to pull the output from that machine automatically without having to do anything else. I think that's set up to, yeah, there we go. So with those graphite blocks, we can then alloy them with, I think it's diamond? Yes, diamond into our hard carbon alloy, which is the next item that we're going to need, the next tier up from where we're at. So that's going to be easy enough for us to make. And I don't think we're really using anything else in this pack with that graphite. So we should be good there. So we need to go ahead and put a drawer here to grab our output from this machine. Okay, so we should now go grab up our diamonds and make ourselves some hard carbon alloy. That's going to be real easy. We have basically infinite diamonds in our system thanks to our loot fabricators. And then we're going to use that to make this next alloy here, the extreme alloy. So that should be relatively easy for us here. Hard carbon and the tough alloy go together. So let's go ahead and set this up. Okay, so here at our alloyer, this goes real quick. So we're going to just drop in our steel and our boron. That's going to give us the ferroboron that we need here that we're going to be combining with our other ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and make a couple of stacks of this. So now we take our graphite ingots and our diamonds, put them together, and we get the hard carbon alloy, which is the other alloy that we need to combine here. So that's 2 of the alloys that we're going to need. And now we're going to take our hard carbon and tough alloys and put those together so that we get extreme alloy, which is the thing that we're really after. So let's keep putting those together. I think we're going to end up with about 4 stacks all said and done. So that's a pretty good starting point. Now it's time to work on getting our arsenic. So the arsenic, as I mentioned before, we need to set up the chain with our rock crusher. And in addition to the rock crusher, we're also going to need to do some cobblestone generating here because we don't have cobblestone automatically being imported in our system. So I'm going to go ahead and make 8 of the tier 1 cobblestone generators and combine those into a single tier 2 cobblestone generator. And we're just going to teach it to put nether quartz in here. So we're just going to have 1 stack of nether quartz at any given time in this storage drawer. That's going to be one of the ingredients that we're going to use to make our diorite. Now I just need to take that and do some auto crafting with it. And actually it occurs to me that it might be more efficient here to do a 2x2 drawer because then we can store multiple ingredients because we have multiple levels of auto crafting that we're going to want to do. And in that regard, we probably should pull out the storage downgrade as well. So let me set that up real quick. So now we're just going to teach it the other things that we want to have in here. So we're going to put diorite in that slot so we can auto craft the diorite into this same container. And then I'm going to take the diorite and combine it with cobblestone to make my andesite. And we store the andesite into that drawer as well. So now that is most of our ingredients that we're going to use for this auto crafting. Now I need to put our cobblestone generator somewhere here. And maybe I'll just go ahead and stick it in the wall there behind all of these things and put a super factory manager in front of it. That might be the easiest way to do this. But let me poke at this a little bit and figure out how I want to lay it out. So our super factory managers are real cheap to make, and I've been using these a lot for auto crafting. It works really, really well. I'm glad I came back and did not sleep on this mod. Thanks to you all for the comments to tell me to go ahead and check this one out. And we're going to go ahead and use the auto crafting feature, as I was just mentioning, the same way that we did in the last couple of episodes here. There we go. And now it knows how to make diorite. Then I'm just going to wire all of this up the same way that we did last time. And I'm going to do exactly the same process for our andesite crafting as well. Okay, so with that all done, we now need to make our rock crusher. So all of this is relatively easy. We've made most of these already. We have the tough alloy, the electric motor is pretty easy, and the linear actuator is relatively simple. So let's go ahead and make one of these real quick. So then we make the electric motor first. That's really easy for us. Then we make 2 linear actuators like so. Great. And then with that, I think we have everything that we need. We already had a chassis on hand, so there we go. Great. Now the rock crusher we can go ahead and put down right here next to the other items, but I'm going to need to use some item pipes to route things around a little bit here because I want to pull things out and have them available. But the easiest way to get those out, I think, is going to be use item pipes. We don't need a higher throughput than that, and I'm a little wary of using too much integrated dynamics. It also means that we can double up and use the same channel that we're using for our electric as well. So power will be coming in, items coming in. So we're just going to tell that to pull our andesite out. We're going to use an item filter here to tell it that it should only accept andesite. Just like that. Perfect. And tell it to insert, and we're not extracting for now. And now we just need to tell our cables that we need to extract andesite from here and into our rock crusher, and we should have our rock crusher up and running momentarily. And there we go. We are already starting to crush down those rocks, and slowly but surely, we will be getting our arsenic out. Now, we're going to use another 2x2 storage drawer, and we're going to make sure to lock it this time. And we're going to push our 3 output ingredients directly into that. So our beryllium is the first ingredient, and the other 2 we should be getting in momentarily. There we go. Just waiting on those last 2 ingredients. It's arsenic, and I forget what the third one is. We'll have to see here in a second. I'll just upgrade this a little while we wait. Now I'm running into some sort of a bottleneck here in my integrated dynamics crafting system. I have all of these ghost jobs and I can't figure out why everything is stuck. So this is screwing up a lot of our processing right now, and it also is screwing up our research automation. I'm not sure how to fix this and clear it out and get rid of all of those ghosts. So we're gonna have to make all of these things by hand instead that we're gonna need for our melter. So let's go ahead and make our servo mechanisms real quick here. And there we go, there's our melter. And we need to actually make 2 melters because we have to melt both of our ingredients before we combine them. Then we combine them inside of the chemical reactor. So let's make a chemical reactor real quick. The recipe is really similar to that of the melter, almost identical in most ways. And we're gonna go and put those together over here next to our other machines. So let's go ahead and put the melter down first, right next to our other storage drawer, and start pulling those ingredients out. We'll use item cables to do that because we can filter them. Now we're going to come off from the wall a little bit here to give us a little bit more room for cabling so that I can put my power cables and whatnot behind it. And we're just going to configure this real quick here. So this, we want to make sure, is only getting our arsenic out and nothing else. And we just tell our storage drawer that it can extract all items, and that way it'll only match what we want to get into the melter. And there we go, it is already melting into our liquid arsenic. Perfect. So now we need to continue running our logic cables down here and give ourselves another of our item exporters real quick, which I believe we have a few laying around. There we go. And attach that to the second melter. And this one is just going to take in our boron, the ingots actually. So combining the arsenic with the boron is going to give our boroarsenide, or whatever they call it. So we just export that straight into here. You can see it's already getting a full stack of them. And those are going to be the 2 first ingredients that we need here to go into our chemical reactor. So let's go ahead and set up our chemical reactor. Where's the easiest place? I guess I can just put it right next to these. I think that makes the most sense because then I can just run fluid conduits around on 2 sides. So I will run a fluid conduit along the top. I think that's going to be the easy way, along with one around the back. So let's go ahead and put this across the back. We're going to tell this not either to insert or extract from the second melter, and it's only going to insert here. And we need to make sure that it knows that it needs to extract from this one. So we have to turn that active, like so. And now we can run our second cable. Oh yeah, and it's already pulling out. Perfect. So now we can run our second cable along the top here, just like that. And then we will configure this as well the same way. So it's going to get the second ingredient, the molten boron, into that container. So there we go. These are all coming in. Now, eventually, oh, we need to wire this up. Just add a power cable to it real quick here. There we go. Yeah, and you can see it's already starting. So that should melt those down into a combined liquid. Now, to actually make our crystals, we need to add an ingot former to this chain. I think that's the only way that we can get this back out is the ingot former. So we're going to need to make one of those and plunk it down next to these other machines. So this recipe is easy enough. We just need to go ahead and use a funnel this time. Again, very similar to the other recipes overall, and put that down right here. Right here. Yeah. Need to wire it up first. Maybe we'll come off by one, and that way we can pull the ingredients out using these fluid cables again. Let's do that, since I can't quite get these nuclear craft machines to automatically export the way I want. Oh, it doesn't require power. That's great. Okay, so I can just add as many upgrades as I want then, because it's not going to change the power usage. All right, great. Let's just stick a whole bunch of upgrades in there. Perfect. That'll go super quick. Wonderful. So now we are getting our boron arsenite back out. So let's go ahead and add some sort of storage container for that as well. Okay, so let's grab up the boron arsenide that we've already made, the little bit that we have, and combine it with our other alloys that we had just made to make that top tier alloy. What's the name of the highest alloy? I can't remember what it's called, but we're gonna add it to the extreme alloy here, and just a few pieces. There we go. And that should automatically be pulling out there. Oh, we need a couple more pieces. There we go. Yes, the thermoconducting alloy, right. That is the highest tier alloy that we have gotten to so far. Perfect. Okay, so that is the second ingredient that we need for our researcher. Now the last one is these depleted uranium platings, DU plates. So that's relatively simple. We used our advanced plating with uranium and sulfur, and we have a bunch of both of those already. So not as much uranium as I would like, but a decent amount. So we also probably need to redo our setup for our nuclear fission reactors to increase the amount of uranium-238 that we're producing. Okay, and we've got a bunch of advanced plates that were still sitting in our inventory that we were using before, so let's go ahead and make up some of these. However, many of these that we can actually make, I'm not sure. I think the bottleneck is really uranium at this point, in addition to the advanced plates just being real slow to make. Okay, so back over at our researchers, next to the chemical researchers, I'd put together 2 additional researchers so that we can start producing our quantum research. So I'm going to go ahead and put in all of the elements that we've got so far into this first one and just start making up our first couple of bits of our nuclear research. Actually, I'm going to do half, right? Half of these. So half of the DU plating, actually all that we've got left, right? The thermoconductive alloy, the DU plating, and the rest of the californium that we have laying around. So those should slowly, very slowly but surely, end up making our research for our quantum research. And yeah, it looks like it's going super slow, but it is processing. So we'll just hang out for a minute and that should be done momentarily. And there we go. There is our quantum research, and that completes the quest. So let's just go ahead and add it into our storage box here. And there we go. Already have 2 pieces of quantum research. That wasn't so bad. So now we can start working on all of these other things, these portal frame research, all of these sorts of bits and pieces. But this is going to require a lot of quantum research. I think when I ran through the counts previously, it basically needs a stack and a half of quantum research just to unlock the ones right in this section. And then some of the other bonuses that we're going to want to unlock are going to require another stack and a half, depending on what we do here, including building the next tier of nuclear reactors so we have enough power to go around. So all of that stuff needs to get unlocked and done. So yeah, it's a decent amount of quantum research that we are going to need to finish out this pack. But all of that's going to have to wait for the next episode. For now, I'm going to call that the end of this episode. So thanks again for watching Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.